All right, everybody, 10 Tampa Bay Chief Meteorologist Bobby Deskins. It is that time of the year again for us to start with a tropical update. The 28th, we're getting close to June 1st, right? What are we, 3, 4 days out now? But we have a little bit to talk about. So let's start with the European forecast model. I'm going to back it up to where we are now. This time of year, here's Florida, okay? This time of year, we watch the Gulf of Mexico and the Western Caribbean and the Bahamas. Anything in that area is where we're really kind of watching for possible development this time of the year. So let's go out for the next week or so because you've probably seen some stuff online about something developing. This is June 1st. Okay, right there. Now, what's happening? That is a cold front, right? That's this Saturday night into Sunday. Okay, and that is odd for this time of the year. We don't get fronts that far south this time of the year. That's a good thing because that could help give us more wind shear, but we also get high pressure sitting over top of this thing, and you always look underneath those for development. Do we see any development? Let's go out a couple days. This goes out to the 2nd, the 3rd of June. Nope, not seeing any development. And in fact, let's go out to about the 7th, which, to be honest with you, this model will go out much further in time. You take it all the way out. I don't see anything all the way out through the 12th, but you can't buy that. Go out through about the 6th or the 7th. And that's where you're seeing about the best chance that this model has, because anything beyond 7 to 9 days, you're really starting to get into guesswork here. Okay. And what you've been seeing online lately is people sharing stuff that is showing something developing 10, 12, 13 days out, right? Can't look at that. This is the GFS. The GFS will do that. The GFS is known for doing that. So let's go out here, the GFS out to the 4th. So don't see anything. Out to the 6th, the 7th. Don't see anything, but we do see this. Look at this. Another system developing. We have one now. It's going to be Alvin here developing. But this is the Pacific side, okay? There's Central America. There it is. It goes like this, sorry, but you get the idea. This is the Pacific Ocean over here, okay? Nothing in the Gulf of Mexico through the 7th. 8, 9, 10 days out, okay? So that's good. Now take this out a little bit further, and it tries to do a little mischief here near Honduras, Nicaragua. But again, now you're talking, look at this. This is all the way out to the 13th of June. Okay? This is not, you can't look at that. That's just not right. Now, this is another way to look at it. This is the GFS model. And what it's, I show you this here because this isn't the ensemble, which means let's go out through the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. Let's go out to the 5th. So what this is the model run multiple times with small changes in it. And so instead of just showing one run that shows a hurricane blowing up and going somewhere, you look at a bunch of different runs of the same model with little tweaks, and you see what the overall thinking is. So this is the late night of the 4th or the 5th, right? It's thinking, yeah, maybe a little low developing here, maybe a little low developing, maybe a stronger one sitting out here over the Pacific, maybe another one down here. This makes sense because this is that Central American gyre just kind of sits here, goes counterclockwise, and eventually can spin some energy out up to the north, whatever, right? But you can only go out so far. Now, when I go out through the 6th and 7th, this is even a little far out in time for me, right? But still, nothing really there. And what you do see is kind of getting this direction. Now, watch as you go out, and people would post some of these things. They are not. This is one run of the model. This is another run. This is another run. This is another run, and that is another run. Which one do you think that people are going to post online to get the clicks? Clearly, that is what they're going to do. And that's what happens. And so I just want to say that, get you to understand that you're not seeing the whole picture when you're talking. I mean, look, what's the date on this? And this is the 9th of June. Plus 3, 12, 13 days out. That's just not right. And another thing is the GFS is known for doing this. This is fake, okay? That's about as far as you can go out right there with any legitimacy. Now, this is the European. I'll back it up a little bit. This goes out through the 1st. Here's the 1st. Not much going on, right? Here we go up towards the 4th and the 5th. And again, we're getting towards the end of how we should be trusting this. Little here, little here. Look, the GFS was similar, right? Okay, that's okay. And then we go out a little bit more. Let's go out to the 6th and then out to the 7th. And that's all I'm really going to do, okay? Yeah, it's got a little something here, a little something here, a little something here. Bottom line is it's sniffing this area right in here for not next week. Well, I guess it's late next week, all right? About a week and a day or two, Okay, so that's the area we'll be watching over next week. Now, I can go out further with this, and it does more, but this shouldn't scare you. This should show one here, one model thinks it's here, one thinks it's here, 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 right? And these all will change. Now, another way of looking at it, well, first let's just show you this. This is Canadian. Not much going on. This is the 7th. It doesn't have much going on at all. And in fact, what I will point out is it's got this high sitting out here. And so that means things would be going like this, even if they could anyways, maybe even further off, right? That we want that high sitting where it is. Now let's take a look at this. This is the European AI model. And now this thing has actually been doing really, really good. So I'm going to take this out through June 1st. See the front coming through? See it right there? No tropical development that we can see in the Atlantic or Caribbean or Gulf. And let's go out through the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, where we shouldn't go any further than this anyways. It has nothing. It's got a little bit of moisture here, but it has nothing developing. All right, this one you can go even further out, and look what it's trying to do. It's actually trying to take some moisture here. Sorry about that, and do something like this, but that's just moisture. So, good news as far as the next week goes. Here's the other thing. This is the wind shear from the European. This red that you see here, again, here's the Gulf of Mexico, Caribbean, here's Florida. You see all this here? This is wind shear. That is not good for storms. All right, so watch this wind shear as we go out through. Look at all that. That front that comes through brings wind shear with it, behind it especially. This is essentially, look at all this wind doing like this. All right, and then some of it splits and comes down here. That is not good for making storms, and that is great. And in fact, this goes out through the 2nd of June, okay? Let's go out a little bit further. Look out towards the 5th of June. Guys, that is a ton of wind shear sitting out here. Now, yeah, there's a little gap in here, but it's not much of a gap. And the Caribbean is just shut down as far as that goes. Right? Now we get out towards the 6th and the 7th, and look what happens. You start finding some gaps here, right? But there's Cuba. Not going to form over land. So, even if something were to try, I'm not too worried about any of this right now, and I just don't want you to be, because the models will go back and forth, and you're going to see people pick the good runs and show them out there because they get the clicks. All right? Here is another way to look at it. What this is the European forecast model, probability of tropical depression. All right? So that's some kind of organized low. And let's run this I'll run this all the way out through the 7th. And you can see it's in this area down in here. So our Central American gyre just kind of sits around in a circle like this. And sometimes pieces pinwheel off. Well, not that way, but that way for sure. And that's kind of what it's looking at. So to me, this is a signal that the East Pac is going to get going, the Eastern Pacific, right? And that we will have to watch late next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, this area right in here. But again, nothing major. Now, here's another way that NOAA shows this to you. They're showing you next week that goes out through the 10th, okay, right here. They're not even concerned at all. They're just showing this East Pac area, right? And then the week after, said, yeah, maybe open up this Central American gyre area for development, okay? That goes out through the 17th. But even there, not a huge concern. This is something that I will keep an eye on, and basically this is the MJO, and let me point out first what you're looking at. You want to be focused on this area right here, basically all the way down. Okay, you want to be looking in this box all the way down. Where you see green in that box, a little here, but especially here, here, and here, you want to be looking for possible development. So this is the 12th of June. This is the 17th of June. All right. What this is an overall lift in the atmosphere that goes around the globe. And the forecast models try and time it and forecast where that area of extra lift will be. And when that area of extra lift comes over you and you're in the middle of a hurricane season, you have to watch for possible development at that particular time. Remember, I showed you a ton of wind shear in this time frame, maybe a little bit before that. But bottom line is, you're not going to get much out of it. All right, at least not for now. We'll have to watch it, but right now I think we're good for the next week. This is Tropical Depression 1. This is what I think will become Alvin over in the Pacific. You can see where it is now, going up to 50 miles per hour. That would be tomorrow afternoon, 65 tomorrow night. 2 days from now, 60 mile per hour winds, and then look at this. It basically falls apart to 30 mile per hour winds going across the tip of Baja right in there. So season's getting started for them. For us, Still relatively quiet, but just wanted to give you a heads up because I know you're going to see some of these model runs getting out on the internet. All right, guys, that's it. Hope you have a great day. I'll be back with you tomorrow to